Well, Alex, obviously we're only a few days away from the massive pay-per-view here in Perth, a country that's been starved for fights since before the pandemic. You're obviously the face of this sport in this part of the world. So what are the emotions now that hard part's over with, you just got to make weight and then go fight Islam Makhachev?
Yeah, now the fun part. But yeah, it's good. Good to be back here, not only in Perth, obviously Australia. As I've been saying all week, all us Aussie fighters or from this region, Australia, New Zealand, we deserved an event over here. Not just us. Obviously, I deserve to fight in front of home crowd, defend a belt or fight for a belt, whatever it is. And then you've got the fans who deserve an event here and having their local fighters fighting here too.
And obviously the rest of the card is stacked with these Australian fighters too. Are a lot of them kind of viewing you as like the guy that will take this sport into the next level here in Australia now that they can come back after the pandemic?
Oh man, it's obviously good for them to, I'm sure they all believe in their skills. They've seen it, yeah. They've seen us go to the top. They've seen us get the belts. But I mean, that's what obviously Robert did that as well. So they got to see that, which is always going to be motivating. And this can be done. Even from a small gym or wherever you are. But now we're obviously going champ and going real big and pound for pound and all that. So I guess we are showing these guys coming up, or even the younger generation, that not only be a champion, not only do well in the UFC, you can be the best. You know what I mean? The pound for pound number one, champ, all that type of stuff. So I think we are setting a good example. So that's good.
You mentioned the pound for pound thing. You're number one, he's number two. Do you view him as the true number two pound for pound fighter in the world, or is it just something the voters voted for, gave him that? Do you view him as the second best fighter in the world?
Oh man, again, this isn't up to us. You know what I mean? People can ask me, if you go and take him out, you're going to be the greatest ever and all that type of stuff. That's not up to us. You know what I mean? Do I think I had a harder path to pound for pound and all that? Yeah, look at my resume. But do I believe he is as good as a number one pound for pound? Yeah. Or number two pound for pound? Yeah, for sure. I believe he definitely deserves to be up here. He's a great fighter. So, again, you probably look at the resume, it's still a good resume, but it's probably not as good and as deep as some of ours. But at the same time, when it comes to skill, he's definitely right up there.
Michael Chandler was breaking this fight down, and he said that Islam is just brilliant at the basics. He does nothing wrong. He doesn't do anything flashy. Everything is just perfect. Did you agree with that statement when watching tape on him?
Yeah, well, he doesn't take unnecessary risks. That's the proper way of doing it. He does. We all know what they're good at and what they want to do. They're calculated in that sense. A lot of people. Obviously you're seeing some people saying that he can strike. It's underrated, but then you're seeing a lot of people that say it's not good. But I mean, it is calculated. That's something that he does very well. He doesn't overcommit too much. He does sometimes, but he doesn't. He will fight on the back foot and wait for the right time to shoot and things like that. His distance game isn't too bad. So little things like that he does well. Like I said, he's calculated. What exactly did Chandler say? He was saying
brilliant at the basics.
At the basics. Yeah. I guess so, but. I don't know about that. I think he's just more calculated. That's probably an unnecessary risk. I think that's what he's probably better at.
Do you feel a sense that you need to represent Australian wrestling against him, considering everything he said about how Aussies don't have wrestling?
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? Coming to my country and say we don't have wrestling? Yeah, all right. Well, I'm going to have to do something about that.
So how do you see the fight?
Shooting doubles from the get-go.
So how do you see this fight playing out? He says once you feel his power, he is very confident he can knock you out in that octagon.
I just told you he's a very calculated fighter. He doesn't take unnecessary risks. Him coming looking for a knockout, that's an unnecessary risk. He won't be doing that.
And final one for me, what do you make of the UFC announcing that Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler will be the coaches of the Ultimate Fighter this year?
Yeah, I think it's good. Obviously, it's always good to have Conor coming back to the sport. Brings a lot of eyes here, It's and that'll be a fun fight as well. You know what I mean? And it's I think it's clever for both of them. Clever for Conor because he can go and fight, and that's they're both powerful dudes. Obviously, it's a winnable fight because they're just going to go for it. So it's going to be entertaining. But I mean, that just puts Conor right back in the conversations, for the belt and all that type of stuff. And for people to say, he wouldn't deserve it and there's no way they're going to do that, you're pretty crazy, right? It's Conor McGregor, and if he takes out someone like a Chandler, you know his name's going to be mentioned. You know people are going to be talking about him. So it's interesting. It's good to look at because I plan on taking that lightweight belt, and I'm looking at seeing what's happening in the division. There's a lot of potential matchups after this one, but obviously first I've got to worry about what's in front of me.
You also said you do plan on going back to featherweight and fighting the winner of the co-main event. How do you see that fight playing out?
I'm 50-50 on it. I think they're obviously both great fighters, and it just depends who turns up on the night with the right game plan. I think, again, I'm 50-50 on it. I don't know. So I might know from 1 minute in the fight, but obviously I think it's going to be a fun fight, you know what I mean? And good. I'm just glad it's happening. It's going to give me a pretty clear guy who's next. So when I go back down, so it's good because I want to be active, right? So line these next guys up for me because I want to have a very busy year.
Alex, just to go back to the Conor thing, it seems like that fight's going to be at 170 though, and I guess that's where people are maybe debating. Could he even make 155 now is one question, and if it's at 170, maybe that's where the argument of would he deserve it at 155 would come in. What would be your response to that, I guess?
It's at the end of the day, it's it is Conor McGregor, and when you pull on those types of numbers, and you got to remember he is always taking on the good guys as well, like the good fighters. So he's always stepping up and taking on dangerous fighters. So, and it's at 170. You're right. It's not the lightweight division. Look, if it was anyone else, I'd say there's no way, right? So I'm just, it's pretty obvious how it goes down. You know what I mean? So you're not really saying anything that anyone should be surprised about.
Yeah, I think we all understand.
Yeah.
And the parity between your last fight with Max, who's absorbed the most strikes in UFC history, and Islam, who's absorbed the least in UFC history for the amount of fights he's had, what's the dramatic difference in preparation for two guys like that, and knowing that one might be harder to find?
I always find them though, right? That's my thing. So it is definitely different. You got to approach it right because you can't get too carried away because we know he wants to shoot as well. So that's what's good about him. He is patient. He will stay on the outside. You overcommit, he'll make you pay. If you overcommit incorrectly, it can be a long night for you. But obviously, I'm a calculated fighter. That fight IQ is definitely going to have to come into play. I need to turn up. This isn't a fight where I can just come in and we'll see what happens. I need to be on my game. But I'm always on my game. I always prepare how I should, and you're going to see me turn up. And I plan on raising 2 belts at the end of it.
And you win this fight, it'll be a 13-0 UFC start for you. The only other fighters who have done that are Anderson Silva, Kamaru Usman, and Khabib Nurmagomedov. What would it mean to you to kind of join that group of elites?
Oh man, it's it's awesome. I've joined a couple of cool things, right? Like being a champion is incredible, and being pound for pound #1 is obviously incredible. Then going champ, and then the streaks and all that type of stuff. It's a pretty good resume. It's pretty good numbers there, and I guess that speaks for itself.
Thank you.
Hey, Alex, just curious, man. I wonder, how much do you think Khabib's dominance has sort of affected people's respect and fear of Islam's wrestling? Because they see Islam as the next incarnation of Khabib, and because of Khabib being so dominant, I wonder how much some of Islam's past opponents have looked at that and that's translated mentally.
Yeah, man, it's pretty obvious that they got a strong ground game. They do have a certain style, very good MMA specific style, and people haven't been able to not capitalize on or deal with or figure that out. You got to train how you meant it. You got to prepare for these guys properly. Because again, if you're just going to go there and just think you can just do anything you do in a jiu-jitsu room, you need to change it up. You need to study these guys, study their movements, details. I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think other teams or other fighters did enough of that. But we always do that. We always game plan properly, prepare properly, and always prepare for the worst. So no matter what happens in there, I'm not going to be shocked. I'm not going to be puzzled. You know what I mean? I'm going to be going for it the whole time. And again, if there's anyone for a job to figure any puzzle out, I'm the man. I truly do believe that, and I get to show that on Sunday.
I wonder, what, if anything, has Dan Hooker said to you about Islam, just his strength and just what it was like being in there, if anything surprised him?
I haven't really had that conversation with him, to be honest. I haven't. Obviously, he got caught. We got Islam did a great job of catching the leg as he went on top and then got into a dominant position and got there. There's not much you can really do about that. Obviously, again, we know Islam's good. I haven't really had that conversation, to be honest with you. But, yeah. But, again, I got a lot shorter arms, so I'm a lot harder to Kimura.
Even though your arms are longer than his, I wonder.
Yeah,
though,
that's actually, yeah.
in the countdown.
I'm short with long arms, yeah, my bad.
In the countdown, you mentioned how your whole life you've been dealing with
stocky arms. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
The whole life you've been dealing with monsters of men, and obviously the narrative here is like, the size difference. And I just wonder, like, when was the first time in your life that you took out a significantly, bigger dude? Maybe even before like your professional fight career, or just you realize you had that ability in you.
Oh man, that's been happening forever. It's been happening forever, even on the footy field, all that. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, he's moving up, like it's like crazy. It's like, I'm training like every day in the gym with guys heavier than me. This is lightweight. I train with like welterweights. I train with even middleweight sometimes, you know what I mean? Especially in the grappling and wall work and all that type of stuff. Wrestling, like, these are the guys I'm usually grappling and doing them stuff with, because the guys my size are obviously usually going to struggle with me there. So I usually got to go with the bigger guys. That's why people keep mentioning the power and size. It's not that. I look at it more, the thing that to deal with is their style, you know what I mean? Like their grappling ability, they do certain things. That's more of something that I'm looking at, like not power. No one's ever just overpowered me, you know what I mean? Like, again, if he thinks I'm just going to be some weak little featherweight, then he's going to be in for a rude shock.
Alex, Dave Shaw confirmed to Fox Sports Australia that they're already looking at a second pay-per-view for 2023 here in Australia. I wonder, man, you've been in some big stadiums here, as a spectator for some big sports. Do you have any venues in mind that potentially that are on your bucket list of you headlining in?
Oh, man, like... Yeah, well, there's plenty. I couldn't mention the actual stadiums. I'm bloody terrible with the names. But, I mean, it would obviously be good. Like, I love fighting anywhere in Australia, but to fight somewhere in Sydney or something like that, literally where I live, would be incredible. So, like, to have a big stadium over there would be unreal.
We'd all be thankful for that flight.
Yeah. Alex? A big flight for most of you, eh? Could imagine. Now you know how we fucking feel. Every single time.
Alex, in your training camp, we could see the Mairbek Taisumov, and in MMA with Russian fighters, Russian fans, I mean, was discussions. Did he help you in preparing for Islam fight? Did he help?
Yeah. Mairbek was there. A couple of guys from over there at Bangtao. Like, we were training over there for a little bit, and they come in and did some wrestling rounds with us, grappling rounds and all that. So it's always good, Obviously, they've been wrestling and grappling their whole lives, right? He's been in the UFC and things like that. But someone that's dealt with very, very high level wrestlers their whole life, and just to be moving out, and he's a lightweight himself, so it was a good feel.
Thank you.
And Volk, what are your thoughts on what Islam said about the lack of promotion for the fight?
Yeah, I think it's fun. It's been massive here in Australia. You know what I mean? That's all anyone's been talking about over here. So I'm okay with it. I think it's doing well. I think we are breaking records here in Australia. You know what I mean? So, and I think we're doing very well pay-per-views around the world. So I think people are tuning in. Maybe it usually is fight week when everything starts to happen. Obviously the buzz is here now. So maybe it was just something he wasn't feeling earlier, but I'm sure he's feeling it now.
And what is it about your head coach, Joe Lopez, that's so special?
Master Splinter. Mate, he's good. Obviously, mate, I've been the first day I ever stepped in the gym was his gym. So he's been my coach ever since, and he's travelled the world with me and all that. We've obviously evolved as coaches and fighters together and worked our game together. So it's been incredible. No one knows me as well as Joe knows me. So that's something that connection, right? Like we've, as I said, travelled the world and grew together and like pretty much made our style through traveling the world, getting knowledge from everywhere, and just making it work for me, my shape, my size, and all that type of stuff. It's incredible. So it's good to have, and he makes you mentally strong. He can be hard to deal with sometimes, so you're definitely mentally prepared when you're hanging around Joe.
And
there's love that.
There's a lot of talk about legacy with this fight. After it's all said and done, how does Alex Volkanovski want to be remembered?
Oh man, obviously, I'm chasing. I'm in a good position right now, but I'm chasing to be like, one of the greatest, or the greatest. You know what I mean? Again, that's not going to be up to me to decide, but that's where I want to be. But one thing that I do, I'll be proud of obviously them accomplishments, but I'm really proud that I've been able to be myself the whole way through. Some people need to sell themselves out and do things, be fake and all this type of stuff. I'm happy that I was me the whole way through the whole process, and I'm in the position I am now. So very proud of that.
Who's been fake?
Who's been fake?
Yeah.
I'm sure you know plenty of people.
Thanks, mate.
Bit of a softer one, mate, but how are you enjoying Perth?
Yeah, man. Loving it here. It's always good here. Every time we're going to be doing the open workouts today, and every time there's an event here or any type of event, even when I come here when the fight was announced and did a bit of a promotion for that, it was just people just, coming in flocks. There was heaps of people everywhere. So it's always good to be here because they love the sport. They love sport over here, and I can't wait to hear them roar in that octagon or in that arena.
Hey Volk, how are you feeling at the bigger weight? Are you feeling just as explosive and powerful?
Yeah, definitely. That's something that earlier on when I was bulking and I was up to like 81 kilograms and all that type of stuff. Obviously, I was very strong, but I mean, I wasn't really happy with that movement. So as soon as but we needed to do that. That was a part of the process. We started bringing it down, and each kilo, each pound that come down, I just got faster, sharper, and now I'm at the, obviously the last couple of weeks have just been, last few weeks have just been absolutely perfect. Really found where we need to be. So my strength is right where we want it, and my, I'm pretty much that featherweight that you see with the movement. So we found the perfect balance of it all, and you'll see it Sunday.
Are you sick of eating?
I was. Now, you know what? It's funny, man. You'll be surprised with the like a bulking. You end up getting like a what would you call it? Like a food disorder. Like you end up starting to hate food, man. It's crazy. So fight week ain't that bad because I don't care about food right now.
And finally, what's it like being Alexander the Great, Volkanovski, pound for pound number one, and being a dad at the same time?
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, obviously, that's why I do it. I want to be able to provide for my family, to be successful. So it's fine. The good thing about me is I can literally go here, do this fight of this magnitude, raise 2 belts, everyone go absolutely crazy, go home, and then I'm just dad. You know what I mean? I'm grounded. I'm back where I was, and that's something I'm very proud of as well. Like I said, I'm just always going to be me, and through this whole process. So very, very proud of that. But Alexander the Great's good, but we're going for Alexander the Greatest.
Alex, down here, you mentioned about guys being fake and stuff. I'm curious, if the UFC came to you and said, we want you to coach the Ultimate Fighter, who would the guy you'd least like to be around for 6 weeks be?
Least be around. I mean, I wouldn't mind the fakeness, right? Again, I can deal with things pretty good. I'm pretty chill. I laugh everything off, so I'm okay. I can deal with anything. So in that situation, obviously I'm prepared to put up with some shit. So it won't matter who's doing it with me. But who would be? Obviously, your Conor McGregor's would be fun. Obviously Colby Covington doesn't make sense. But I mean, like guys like that would probably be fun. It's probably the only time you would really want to really put up with them is probably on a show like that. Have a bit of fun with it.
Cejudo,
yeah, that could be fun as well. Yeah.
Alex, as you sit here.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, last question, guys.
As you sit here today, going into such a huge fight, how do you reflect on your journey coming from Wollongong, working as a concreter, fairly humble kind of background, and all the sacrifices that have led to this moment? Yeah,
man, it's again, incredible journey, crazy journey, but it's a journey that anyone in the world can do, with the right mindset, belief, and all that type of stuff. That's something, that is a message that I'm always trying to push, is, a lot of these people that are coming in here were just, we're all just regular guys. Yeah, some going to be very athletic and all that type of stuff, but being athletic goes nowhere without the hard work and all that type of stuff. So there's plenty of guys that have reached the top, and I think myself, again, I try and say I'm pretty normal. I don't think I was ever athletically gifted. I've probably always been strong, but that's it. But look where I am right now. You know what I mean? With the right mindset, mentality, work ethic, and all that type of stuff. The stuff that really gets you to the top. You know what I mean? That's the stuff that the people need to see, and that's why I'm the man for this job, because of all that stuff. That ticker, that heart, all that stuff you talk about, what you need. that's why I really do believe in it. That's why you see the confidence in myself, because I know I'm going to do what needs to be done. I know I'm going to turn up on the night. I know I'm going to, if I am in a bad spot, I'm going to deal with it. You know what I mean? I've got the heart to get myself out of any position and come up on top. You know what I mean? So that's something. So even doing this and, the underdog story, that's why I love it as well, because I keep showing these people, these underdogs, these people out there that probably don't believe in themselves. They're not sure. I'm going to show them. I'm going to show them what can be done. You know what I mean? Right now, people are counting me out. They won't Sunday. Sunday, I'm going to shock the world, and I can't wait to do it.